to the MMA Fan Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Stu and Blake.
Hello and welcome to the MMA Fan Show. I'm Stu Whiffin. Joining me as ever is Mr. Blake Harrison. How are you today?
Very good, very good. Up early, watch some fights, ready for a record. It's very rare that we record on a Sunday morning.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
usually been a couple of days, so this is all very fresh in our minds. It's quite exciting because I've literally just finished watching it an hour ago.
Same.
So it's all very fresh in minds. But how are you, Stu Whiffin? Before we,
I'm all right,
crack
thank
on?
you, mate. I'm all right. Yeah, I feel like we've got loads to talk about today, mate.
You're looking very Malibu or something today. You got your pink hoodie on, your kind of tan cap. You look like you're going to go down to the beach in your flip-flops down Santa Monica or something like that.
I've got to level with you. Like, I've not even had a shower yet because I got up and literally, look, my hair looks like I've just brushed it with a toffee apple. So, I thought...
Sounds like a really old school phrase. I've never heard that in my life. My hair looks like I brushed it with a toffee apple. Who's eaten a toffee apple for the last 30 years? That is an old-fashioned phrase, my man.
Well, so, yeah, because the plan is to kind of get...
Oh, no,
today...
Stu Whiffin, you've frozen.
Oh, no,
you're back.
We're back.
You're back.
We're back. Yeah, so
We're
the
back.
plan is to record this show. I've just literally got up, watched the fights, going to do the show, then I'm going to have a little run, then get myself sorted for the day. So, yeah, it's quite nice to be doing this on a Sunday morning. As you say, it's a very rare occurrence for us to do this. Are you all right?
I am good. We want to let the fans know, the MMA Fan Show fans, we're not just going to be talking about last night's card. There's actually been a lot of interesting things going on. Obviously, we mentioned on last week's episode, Lonnie Kavanagh stepping in on short notice to take on Brandon Moreno. More news on Shavkat Rakhmonov and his return to the UFC. The UFC has rumoured to have its UFC White House main event sort of lined up. There's still a few things to go, but
And I know nothing about this, so this is going to be a revelation to me as well.
The talk is that it's going to be this fight. Then there's UFC London. You wanted to mention a few things about that last week. And also, we've had a bit of traction on some of our clips this week that we'll go into as well. I don't know if there was anything else you wanted to talk about, but it seems like we've got a very busy episode today.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, look, let's kick things off and just look back on what we've just watched, which was the Oliveira Bautista card.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy it?
Overall, yes. I believe it was the first. Was it Meta Apex card? So it was like the first one that Meta sponsor the Apex now. Fans can actually get tickets. It's not just like an invite thing or special kind of like $3,000 tickets for the almost like a private showing. Yeah. There are like sort of fans in. At some points that was annoying because there was a great fight on the card that was responded to with boos when the decision was announced. It was a close split decision.
Absolutely.
And I was like, that was shocking that fans were booing that when two fighters gave their all. We'll talk about that a bit later. But yeah, we don't want to linger too much on this. There's so much to talk about. But yes, overall, I thought the card was good. There was ups and downs, as with any card, but there was a few great finishes. There were some really competitive fights. And I thought overall it was a good card, particularly for an Apex card. I mean, if this was a numbered event, obviously, no. But for an Apex card in particular, I thought it actually was quite a good card, despite not having huge like star names or anything like that.
Yeah, I'll go with that. Absolutely. Well, did you want to start at the top, or did you want to start with? Okay. So yeah, Bautista versus Oliveira.
Again, we're going to try and rattle through. This isn't going to be your usual post show, but Bautista Oliveira. I just thought Bautista looked fantastic. I thought he looked phenomenal. He was all over Oliveira like a wet blanket. I mean, Vinicius Oliveira has had some really great moments in the UFC, some vicious knockouts. Has looked really good. He's big for the weight class. Someone that a lot of people were thinking he could go a long way. And he just came up against Bautista, who, you know, he knows where his strengths are. He is all about the grappling. And for someone that a little while ago was labelled very, very boring, he put on a grappling display tonight that I thought was very exciting, actually. I really enjoyed it, particularly the final sequence. Because
so
in
quick,
round two,
so quick.
Oh my God. I mean, just to anyone that hasn't seen it, he's kind of dominating in the grappling in round 2. Puts Oliveira in a crucifix. He's raining down blows. Oliveira bucks up to try and get him off of him. Bautista immediately switches to a Kimura. Oliveira, to get out of that, is just kind of pushing against him and getting back to his feet. And as he does so, Bautista just throws his leg round his back and then pulls him back to the ground from behind and locks in a rear naked choke. And Oliveira taps quite quickly. But I mean, I've got no shame on Oliveira tapping that quickly. It looked locked in. It looked painful. And it just, every transition from crucifix to Kimura to rear naked choke just looked effortless, seamless, and so fast. So far. It was really beautiful to watch. I mean, you are, in a lot of ways, Mr. Stand-em-up. Which is a name I know you don't enjoy me calling you. But you do... there's some grappling heavy fights that I appreciate you're not as bothered about.
Yeah.
Was tonight one of those ones where you were like, oh, I'm not really enjoying it? Or did you appreciate particularly that last sequence?
I thought he looked fantastic. I will say that I thought Oliveira looked tired in the second round. And considering the fight was scheduled for 5 rounds, I thought, this could be a bit problematic. But I think it was just the pressure that Bautista was putting on him was relentless. And it was the last transition when he got his back and the speed in which he got his arm round his neck. I didn't see it live. So when it happened, I was like, he's tapped. He's got his hand. And I couldn't see how he got his arm there. And it was only watching the replay that I watched it. And I was like, that was so impressive. Really, really impressive. And I thought, yeah, it's a, I don't think it's a huge win for him because I think Oliveira was ranked 11th. But I know that Bautista Bautista
was only ranked 9th though.
Yeah, but I think he called for Figgy, which I thought was an interesting call out.
No, he called for Sandhagen.
Sorry. Who called for Figgy? Someone else called for Figgy.
I didn't see the Figgy call out, but I saw
it was Sandhagen. He wants the rematch.
It was a rematch.
Of course he does. Sorry,
and the first fight was like 6 or 7 years ago. 6, 7 for all the teenagers out there. That was that. Bautista's improved a lot since then. Yeah. And maybe it makes sense. I haven't looked at what did Sandhagen. His last fight was for the belt, wasn't it, against Marab, where he got beaten. Bautista Sandhagen, I think you could make that fight again. That I don't mind it. I'm not angry with that fight at all. I think that could be really interesting. The reason I got up and left you was to try and stop myself looking so pale in all the light, and now I've made it too dark in here. So I'm going to probably be getting up off my seat in a bit.
Because by your Casper the Friendly Ghost standards, you was ridiculously pale today. And
I was reflecting, yeah. I think you thought you were talking to like some kind of angel. Blake had died and gone to heaven.
I always think I'm talking to an angel when you're here, mate. Don't you worry about that.
Thanks, man. Thanks.
The call out, the call out for Figgy, I believe, was Basharat.
Okay, that's a good call out.
I believe he called him out, and can we just touch on that fight while I've just mentioned that? And
sure,
yeah. Because Basharat was the one that was being booed, right?
Yeah, which I thought was disgusting.
And it was relentless as well. He was being interviewed, and I think right from the off, he said what a brilliant fighter that Matsumoto was, and basically said, "You've got your value for money out of us. Like, why are you?" Like, I think he just couldn't understand what I was doing, because for me that was probably fight of the night. Like, I thought it was absolutely fantastic. Maybe the fight that followed that was also in contention for that as well. But I just thought that Basharat looked amazing. 15-0 now. I think like that. There's. I think the call out for Figgy was a fantastic shout. I think that I think there's a big future ahead for Basharat. I think this is maybe his 6th win in the UFC on the bounce, and I think he fights out of Florida by way of
London.
He lives in London. because he did say at the end of his post fight, he said like, I'm heading back to London now, but just trying to see where he fights out of. Oh, it's not throwing it up on here, but yeah, I thought that was an absolute cracker of a fight. I had them 1-1 going into the third, and both of them tough as you like.
Both of them deserve to be probably ranked, really. I think Matsumoto has had a couple of like really close split losses. Basharat now, I mean, that was a great performance, but it was, as I say, very, very close. I think he looks great. I think, if he does get the Figgy fight, I would favour him to win that fight for sure. We'll have to see what happens. But, even if they gave him like a Rob Font, or someone like that, or maybe Vinicius Oliveira. They've just fought on the same card. Something like that. Vinicius Oliveira versus Farid Basharat. That also could make a lot of sense.
Who's Rob Font just been given?
Oh, I don't know. I'd have to look that up. I wasn't aware that he'd already been given a fight.
Rob Font's been given somebody on their way up, I believe. I think he'd been given the old keys to the gate, and I think Rob Font's, he's the gatekeeper.
Well, I am about to find out. Rob Font has been given Raul Rosas Jr. And that's going to be on the Holloway Oliveira BMF card. So, no, fair enough. So, no Rob Font. But we'll see how that goes. If Rob Font gets tapped quickly and takes no damage, maybe they could still make that fight. Other fights on that card. Amir Albazi versus Kyoichi Horiguchi. I mean, Horiguchi looked fantastic. He looks so fast, great takedown defense, good striking. He wobbled Albazi a few times during that fight. I think he's got to be in the mix at the top of the division. The problem is it's just so blocked up. With Van, we don't know when Pantoja's coming back, but he should probably fight for the belt straight away when he does. Then you've got Cap and Tyra, who are both like, if you gave either of them a shot right now against Van, no one would complain. And then you've got Horiguchi, so... Gosh, I just don't know what you do with Horiguchi right now. I mean, whoever gets the title shot out of Cap or Tyra against Van, which makes sense to me, maybe whoever's left out of that equation goes against Horiguchi.
Yeah, I think that makes the most sense.
Equally, if Brandon Moreno puts on a great performance in Mexico against Lonnie Kavanagh, we're hoping Lonnie Kavanagh does something special. But if Moreno does, maybe you could do Horiguchi versus Moreno. But the flyweight division is on fire at the moment. There is no shortage of contenders. You've got, let's say Pantoja is injured at the moment and can't fight. You've got, I would say, 3 people there that could be put into a title shot and no one would complain. There's plenty of great contenders at flyweight. They are on fire at the moment. And that's only I can't remember how many years ago it was that flyweights were basically being kicked out of the UFC and they nearly just scrapped the whole division. Flyweight really, really looking good. And Kyoichi Horiguchi looked absolutely brilliant. Obviously, Albazi not fought for a while, so he needed to get back in, gave a good account of himself, but Horiguchi was, really, really looked great last night. People that did not look great were the heavyweights. It was quite a boring affair between Jailton Almeida and Rizvan Kuniev. Kuniev unranked, Jailton Almeida ranked 6th, and Jailton Almeida, he lost that fight quite, not easily, it was boring, but my whole thing with Jailton Almeida for years now, it was when he comes up against the bigger heavyweights in the top 5 of the division, he's going to be out-muscled because he's too small. He should really fight at light heavyweight. Then he actually put on a bit of muscle mass. And then he had that fight against Curtis Blades where in the first round he was taking Blades down loads and I was like, I'm going to have to eat my words here. Jailton Almeida can do this up at heavyweight despite the size difference. But then Curtis Blades caught him with like an elbow as Jailton Almeida was going for a takedown and just, it was too solid a strike. Almeida just crumbled and that was it. And then he struggled a lot since then. Volkov fight and other things. So that analysis of it, I suppose, was correct. He comes up against top 5 guys that are really big and can deal with the wrestling a bit, are a bit more athletic, and he struggles. In this fight against Kuniev, I wouldn't even say Kuniev's an athletic guy. And he just...
He was a replacement. He wasn't meant to be fighting Almeida. He was meant to be fighting Ryan Spann. And Almeida's obviously stepped in, but so I don't know if that made any any
okay, I
impact
wasn't
on his
aware of
fitness. I don't think it was a super late replacement. So, but I know that.
But again, he didn't have to cut any weight. I mean, he weighed in at 241, but at 265 limit. You know, Almeida is not the biggest heavyweight in the world. And I was looking at it and I was going, for someone of your athletic ability and your, you know, the strength you can see, he's a muscular guy. To be a guy that relies on your grappling and takedowns and have your position reversed so often in the clinch on the feet and be pushed up against the fence and not being able to do. I just think I don't know where you're going to really end up. I don't see the heavyweight division playing out well for you. And I think he needs to strip back a little bit. And I think he needs to go down to light heavyweight. He can make that weight. He was going to make that weight previously, but then he stayed at heavyweight, did well, put on a bit of mass. He can shrink down and he can cut weight to light heavyweight, I believe. I know that we don't always like talking about fighters dropping down weight classes because we know weight cuts are awful for people. We've had a few situations recently, unless you're Kelvin Gastelum or whatever. But I do think that Jailton Almeida could really benefit from a drop down in weight, and I think he can take some time, lose that weight naturally, because he put on size to go to heavyweight, really. And I think he could cut weight and be a big problem down at light heavy.
Have you heard, speaking of moves to light heavyweight, have you heard like that there's talk of Bobby Knuckles?
Yeah, I saw him interviewed. He said that it's not confirmed, but that's something he's very interested in. Yeah, I don't know. The way he said it was that like light heavyweights knock each other out anyway, so I shouldn't be that worried about the power. If they're going to knock me out, they would have knocked me out if I was a light heavyweight anyway. So I don't know if that's the right mindset, but yeah, I mean, look, I love Robert Whittaker. I think he's a great fighter. He seems like a really lovely bloke as well. So I want to see him succeed and do well. I worry about there's such a big difference, a 20-pound difference between
it's a big
middleweight
step up,
and light heavyweight. So it's a big old step up. But we know that technically Rob Whittaker is incredibly well gifted. He's fast. He's great. He's a fantastic all-round fighter. But yeah, I don't know if light heavyweight is the way forward for him. But hey, it'd be interesting to see. Another great fight on the card was Marc-Andre Barriault versus Mikhail Olegzaychik. Olegzaychik won that in a really, like, I don't think it'll get any love for like fight of the year come the end of the year or anything like that. I don't think anyone will remember it. There was not much at stake. They weren't big names. It wasn't a main event. But I do think that this fight was a absolutely cracking fight. I just thought,
slugfest, mate. Slugfest.
Yeah. Olegzaychik won round one. Then Marc-Andre Barriault just went, I'm going to need to make this dirty because he's faster than me and his
clinch work was amazing.
Yeah. And he did. He made it ugly, didn't he?
Yeah.
Marc-Andre Barriault won that second round. And then the third round was so close, but I did think Olegzaychik just edged it. But yeah, absolutely brilliant fight. Absolutely loved
brutal
it.
Body kicks as well
and body shots with the left hand as well from Olegzaychik. But yeah, absolutely brilliant fight. Loved it. There was a few great fights on this card. I mean, I don't know what Alex Morono is made of, but did you see what happened there?
Yeah.
Against, was it Donchenko, who I'd not heard of before, but he looks really interesting, really fun. Gassed out, I think, in the end of that first round because he thought he was getting a finish, and Morono just somehow stayed in the fight, and then he kept going. I mean, those leg kicks were nasty.
Yeah.
Within the first 10 seconds, Danil Donchenko just came out and threw leg kick, and all of a sudden Morono was already limping 10 seconds into the fight, and he ate leg kick after leg kick after leg kick and kept going. And was beaten up and was on the floor and was ground and pounded and somehow survived. And then towards the end of the fight, it looked like he was getting the better of it in moments. But yeah, Alex Morono is made of incredibly stern stuff.
Absolutely.
But Donchenko won that relatively convincingly, but I think he gassed out a bit. But it'd be interesting to see how he moves on, because he's again very muscular guy, gassed out a bit, needs to learn to maybe conserve a bit of energy, but really interesting striker and really comes to finish fights.
Yeah.
And then we had an incredible standing KO finish. Poor old Nico Price, I think maybe needs to call it a day. But, and I'm going to get his name probably wrong, Varentenikov, I think it was.
Better than what I could have done.
Yeah, I mean, what a combo. What was it? Punch, followed by knee, followed by elbow. Like, he was pulling out all the weapons. And, Nico Price.
He's had a few rough days in the office of late, I think.
He has. And it was like one of those ones where he was stood up, but there was no one home.
No.
Those lights were off, even though he was stood on his feet. Really devastating finish for Varentenikov. And then Jacoby got a great finish over Walker as well. So
3-fight win streak now. And at 37, which is fair play. Fair play.
I mean, I think that is the card very quickly, and I would like to say quite efficiently wrapped up there.
Yeah. Great work, Blake.
Thanks, mate. You too. So, what is it that we want to get onto now while I try and sort this lighting out again?
Well, I'm going to touch on the UFC London card that's been announced, because I think if you're a British UFC fan, you are spoiled, because this is literally pretty much the best of the best. Obviously, Tom's not fighting, but what we've got is Mobsar versus Lerone, which I think is 110% title eliminator. The winner of this is obviously, I'm presuming, going to get Volk, unless they decide to give Lopez another go at it. But I think the winner of this gets it. Saw an interview with Lerone last week. He was saying, like, my plan is to knock him out. He said, look, we're not daft. We know this guy's going to come to wrestle. I just think Mobsar, he's the man to beat to get that shot. And Lerone's record, like, he's phenomenal. And I'm just hoping that confidence of that run, he's going to continue, and he's going to get Evloev out of there, and then obviously going to just put us all through hell of how the hell do you try and get your head around watching 3-time guest of the show Lerone Murphy versus 2-time guest of the show Alexander the Great Volkanovski, two of the nicest people on the planet, and they're going to fight. Oh my God! I mean, thankfully Lerone's not fought Arnold, because that would have just been hell on earth to kind of. To deal with that. But yeah, I think as a headliner for London, I don't really see that there was any other fight they could have made that would be a big draw, that's basically got serious implications on the division. Obviously, Paddy's just fought, so he'll be having a well-deserved rest. Tom's out of action at the moment. I don't think Leon Edwards is the draw that he once was. So I think this is a great headline fight.
Trying to think how to word this.
Here we go.
Because you were like, oh, this is the best of the best. And I think even like last week, you were like, oh, this card is absolutely stacked.
Do you not think so?
No, not really. I think that there's a lot of good British fighters on the card, which I want to see. But in terms of like name value, like Lerone Mobsar is a great fight. It's a fight that carries a hell of a lot at stake to it. But outside of that, when you think about the cards that London has had over the last few years post-pandemic, we're looking at this and there's no titles on the line. There's no Leon. There's no Tom. There's no Paddy, there's no Arnold Allen, there's no Paul Craig, there's no Molly McCann. Like, I know some of those have moved on, fought recently, whatever it is. So I'm not saying that they haven't done the best that they could do under the circumstances. But when the casual fan is going, how much are tickets at the O2? And they're as we have known for the last few years, been crazy expensive.
I believe you sort of mid-tier in the seats is £350 a ticket.
And the most recognisable name on the card is Lerone Murphy. All due respect to Lerone, he has earned it. He should have had a title shot by now. Mm-hmm. But when you think of the people that have headlined before, even like Darren Till, and I don't think that Darren Till is as close to the quality of fighter that Lerone Murphy is.
He was a big name.
He was a big star. He was a big name. If any of the fighters on this card decide to go into not that I would say that they would want to, outside of maybe Michael Venom Page, who is a star, I would say none of them are going to get huge contracts with like Misfits Boxing or anything like that. I know that's not what these fighters are aspiring to, especially someone like Lerone, who could very well be a UFC champion by the end of the year. But a Darren Till, a Paddy Pimblett, a Tommy Aspinall, a Molly McCann, they are all people with personality and fan base and that aura that goes around them to achieve other things outside of the cage and to get casual fan interest. Hardcore fans that watch cards every single week know Lerone Murphy versus Movsar Evloev has so much at stake. It's going to be an incredibly high-level mixed martial arts fight. You're getting a lot with that fight. It's a fantastic fight. But I just think in terms of the idea of it being stacked or the idea of, casual fans coming and going, I can't wait to watch all my heroes fight. And I don't think it has what some previous cards have had.
I know what you're saying. And I love Paul Craig and Molly. They've all been very supportive of the show over the years. But they, the last few times that we've seen them in London, they're on their way out. And so, and as we've just seen Arnold fight, Tom's out, Leon, he's probably on a slide now as well. Mm-hmm. So they've got to bring new stars in. And I think that's exactly what they've done. And just to reiterate, what I did say was in regards to it being stacked, I said, if you're a British UFC fan, it's stacked with all your favourite fighters. Will that transcend outside of the UK? Will the whole world be blown away that Luke Riley's been given a co-main? I think that's a point of discussion. Am I happy that Luke Riley's doing that? Of course I am. He's one of the most exciting fighters on the planet, and but in his second fight in the UFC, he's co-main at the O2. I think he's a strange placement.
Yep.
But I do think that the UFC are looking to create stars with this card. If the fact that he's put above, Mick Parkin is on the prelims and he's ranked, and is Sam Patterson ranked?
No, but Michael Venom Page is.
It's been ranked in two different weight classes, and he's still. Fighting underneath Luke Riley. Look, I'm not mad at it. I think Luke Riley is a star. We've seen what he can do in Cage Warriors. We've seen what he's done in the UFC. So I love the fact that they're trying to strap rockets to some of these really exciting fighters. And what an opportunity for Luke Riley. MVP versus Sam Patterson, a fight
I hate that fight.
I did not see coming.
I don't like that fight. I like both guys. We've had both guys on the show. I think they're both brilliant fighters. I think Sam Patterson is on a phenomenal win streak at the moment. What's it like? 4 first round finishes or 3 first round finishes, 4 wins? Yeah, he's been phenomenal. Michael Venom Page is such a difficult puzzle to solve. I just don't like it. You've got a guy that you could, I don't like it at all. I know that I'm not liking it from the point of view of I'm a British MMA fan and I want to keep the Brits apart a lot of the time, especially when they're two nice guys. Like MVP was one of the nicest guys we've ever had on the show. So cool, so humble, lovely. Complete antithesis of what you would expect if you just see his in the cage antics. And then Sam Patterson, again, proper nice guy on an unbelievable finish streak. I don't see this fight being overly exciting, because I think either one way or another, MVP will just either control the striking or Sam will get him down and do something with the grappling. I just think MVP is so hard for people to solve that puzzle. And I think you're potentially ending a great win streak here for Sam. Or, if MVP wins, I don't think he gains much from beating Sam Patterson in the grand scheme of things.
Oh, no, not at all.
If Sam wins, he does get, something, but I don't think he'll be able to beat him in any kind of spectacular fashion. So you're ending the finish streak. I just don't understand the matchmaking. It doesn't work for me. I would have rather seen both guys fight other people, and that would have been way, way better in my opinion.
Roman Dolidze versus Christian Leroy Duncan. Opportunity for Christian to get ranked. Dolidze's ranked 11th. I think that's a great fight. I'm not mad at that at all. And on the main card, they've put Curtis Campbell making his UFC debut. The Scousers are lucking out. They really are. They're to find yourself in your UFC debut on the main card when ranked fighters, and also fighters like Nathaniel Wood, like a Londoner.
Well, I was going to say, let's give a shout out to Nathaniel Wood, an actual Londoner.
Yeah.
And he's a guy that puts on wars every time. He's someone that, is always bringing it. He's a vet of the game now, protege of Brad Pickett. Like, I would have thought his kind of veteran status and the fact that he always puts on great fights should guarantee him a main card spot, really. But I don't know. Is what it is.
I mean, the prelims are being headed up by Mason Jones versus Axel Soller. Mason Jones, again, never in boring fights. So no. I think that bodes well. Prelims are looking great. I mean, also, Louis Sutherland being placed higher than Mick Parkin on the card shows that they're really trying to sort of do something with Louis Sutherland. Obviously, came up short last time out. But they've put him higher on the card, which I was a little bit surprised at. I think that's, doing Mick Parkin a bit of a dirty there. But Mick Parkin's fighting Mario Pinto as well, which, has the makings of a good fight. And also former guest of the show and another Scouser, Shamrock. I mean, they've been kind to Curtis Campbell and to Luke Riley, but I don't think they've been too kind to Shem. They've given him Abdul Karim Al-Sawadi, who obliterated Harry Hardwick's legs in his last outing in the UFC. And hopefully Shem's going to get a win in the UFC and get a little bit of payback for Harry Hardwick. Also surprised Harry Hardwick's not on this card. I know they've given him another fight in the UFC, but I think it would have been great to have had him on here. And speaking of proteges of Brad Pickett, Chanel Dyer making a UFC debut as well, which should be good. And Melissa Mullins fighting Luna Carolina as well, which I think should be an interesting matchup. Bit of a vet in Carolina and Melissa Mullins, who was on a really, really good run. I think come up short last time out. But I think like London's looking, for me, I'm hyped for it. I'm really liking the fact that they're pushing lots of new and young fighters to really develop the UK scene, because it does look like it's going to be a quiet year for Tom Aspinall. And I don't know what's next for Leon Edwards, if anything. I don't, I've seen that he's training, but I think they need to really. I mean, obviously they've got a big star in Paddy Pimblett who's just come up short as well. Your Paul Craigs have gone, and your Mollys are gone. So I think that's why they're doing this sort of thing with Luke Riley. They're trying to create really exciting fights out there to build the next breed of British fighters, and it makes sense.
The positioning of Luke Riley on the card, excuse me, makes me think of that they are worried that the Lerone Movsar fight's going to be boring, and at least when you're going into it, you're going to get. I mean, Luke Riley's never in a boring fight.
No.
So I think at the very least, I think they're going to give you fireworks in the co-main. That's the only reason that I can think of that they've done that and put him as the co-main event is to guarantee some kind of fireworks before a main event that will be high level, but has got the potential to be a bit of a stalemate between two very top fighters.
You could say that they've put Luke Riley in that sandwich because the other side of it could be like that as well. MVP Sam Patterson could also be, a really technical, high-level kind of, stalemate. So, let's put someone in there that loses their debut round in the UFC and the corner just says, right, just go and knock him out. And he's like, all right, no worries, I'll go and do that. And that's what he does. So, interesting card. I mentioned earlier that Tom Aspinall potentially out for the rest of the year. We don't know. We don't know what's going on. Obviously, Tom's talking about eye surgery. Dana's being quite dismissive of it. But another fighter that looks like he's out again for a long time, Shavkat Rakhmonov. I mean, what a shame that we got this. Have we got another Dominic Cruz here that's going to miss the prime years just due to ongoing injuries? Because, he's, he was the champ, gave up the belt, and the injuries have just seem to be endless. And
you're saying Dominic Cruz was the champ?
No. I was talking about Shavkat, obviously giving up the belt.
Shavkat didn't give up the belt. He never won the belt.
What am I talking about? All right, move on.
Shavkat
Quickly
was obviously
well.
Shavkat was obviously in line to fight for the belt against Bilal, and then Bilal got injured. Shavkat beat Ian Gary, and then Shavkat got injured, so he hasn't fought for the belt, and then he's just re-injured his knee, and it looks like another 10 months out. I mean, because of this, I don't think Shavkat will get a title fight on his return fight. I think he's now going to have to get 1 or 2 wins before he can fight for a belt. It's a real shame for Shavkat. This sport moves so fast. If you haven't fought in 2 years, which is basically what we're probably looking at with Shavkat, people just forget about you. They forget you exist, and then new fans come along. And as we've seen with comments on social media and stuff recently, memories aren't long with UFC fans, and new fans come in that don't care about the history of the sport. They just care about what's happening now. And Shavkat, people will be like, who? Who's that? Never seen him before. Don't care. Why is he getting a title shot? So that's unfortunately what we'd be dealing with. Because of that, how do you match up the welterweight division, or who do you think gets the title shot? Because, I mean, we all know there's rumours of Kamaru Usman, and I think anyone with a pulse outside of Dana White and Kamaru Usman don't want that fight to happen, that Kamaru Usman gets a title shot. Who do you think gets the title shot, or who would you want to see get the title shot next if Islam fights in the next 3-4 months?
For me, Ian Gary or Michael Morales. I think they're the two fights. I think Morales, he's just looking ridiculous, but I do think that Islam could be Islam's a ridiculously big test for anybody, but I do think that he's got the chance that he could be the one to knock him out, but also what is his ground game like? It's not going to be anywhere in the region of skill set that Islam has, whereas I do think Ian Gary is more well-rounded as a fighter, so it could be a more balanced fight. Do I think Ian Gary knocks out Islam? Maybe not, but I think that the striking's probably really well matched. I do think maybe even I'd say Ian Gary's probably a better technical striker than Islam Makhachev. But I do think if it goes to the ground, it will be more balanced for Ian Gary than what it might be for Michael Morales. But that said, we haven't seen loads of Morales on his back because he's putting people out there very quickly and very effectively. So, I do think that my worry would be that Islam would just take him down and just lay on him, and it'd just be a really boring fight. So I don't know. Like, I think they're the two that I would have up there, and it's really weird when we was talking. Whenever you talk about that division, you're talking about. I mean, people. I guess, sort of forget about Bilal as well, and they shouldn't do really, because he's he's a fantastic fighter. Just seems to be quite unpopular with the UFC and with fans. He's not necessarily the most exciting, but he's in that conversation. But all the times we're having these conversations, it feels that them conversations finish with, "Oh my God, yeah, Shavkat." Like, you're forgetting about him already because he's so inactive due to injury. And it's like, and then you go, "Oh yeah, well obviously Shavkat's the best," but he's not in them conversations because, like you say, people have, there's so many fans coming into this sport now that, like you say, by the time he comes back, a lot of these new audiences that might be now watching on Paramount and stuff like, they're not going to know who he is. And, and Shavkat's not got this huge personality that the minute he gets back, in camp, he's going to be doing all this media stuff where everyone's like, "Whoa, who's this dude?" Because he's a quiet fella. So, I think it's...
Shavkat's one of those ones, like, it's about what he does in the cage, and it's the aura around him that is quite captivating. It's not, as you say, like, he's not trash talking or anything like that. So I hope Shavkat can get a speedy recovery, but that's not looking great for him. And God, I just hope they don't do the Kamaru Usman fight. Usman should fight, I don't know, JDM or Bilal or something like that. And if he wins that, then you can talk about him getting a title shot.
100%. 100%. So
I think it should be Ian Gary. I would go Ian Gary.
Would you?
I think Ian Gary's earned it more than Morales. I think Morales is a super interesting fight for Islam, but I think that Ian Gary has done a little bit more than Morales to get to the shot.
And I think he's fought
Morales
a better
maybe
class
needs one
of
more
opponent as well.
Yeah. I saw Ian Gary do an Instagram post saying that he should fight Islam. JDM should fight Usman, I think it was, and Morales should fight Prates, and I'm not mad about that. Morales Prates is a fight I would love to see. Yeah,
but I
sort of agree with him. That sounds like good matchmaking to me. Interesting matchmaking was that Lonnie Kavanagh has been called up sort of last minute to fight multiple time flyweight champion or former flyweight champion Brandon Moreno. It was supposed to be Asu Almabayev. Kavanagh's basically, and I'm just going to lay out for you the task in front of Lonnie Kavanagh. Because when we first heard about this, I was like, oh, it's all reward, no risk for Lonnie Kavanagh. This is absolutely fantastic. Can't believe he's got this shot. Good on him. Go get it. But when you actually break down what Lonnie Kavanagh's going to have to do, so he's been given 3 or 4 weeks' notice to fight former champion and top 5 guy in Brandon Moreno. Not only that, he's going into enemy territory. He's going into Mexico, where Brandon Moreno is an absolute superstar, the biggest babyface you can ever get. Kavanagh is going to be the absolute villain of the show. Can this young man deal with all the animosity of the Mexican crowd and all that kind of stuff going on? He's going to get booed out of into the arena and booed out of the arena, most likely. And the most important thing that I didn't think of is this is in Mexico City. Do you know the big problem with Mexico City? High altitude. So he's got 3 or 4 weeks to fight an absolute beast in Brandon Moreno, who is a multiple-time champion. And he's got to do it at altitude, and he's got to get his cardio up to scratch quickly. This is going to be really tough. Really tough for Lonnie Kavanagh.
Yeah, I mean, fighting Brandon Moreno anytime with a full camp is really, really tough. But I think, I don't know if he's just thought, look, he's been gifted such an opportunity here. If he knocks out Brandon Moreno, he's right in the mix then for like title. Like he's going to be in the talks then, because he's done something remarkable and he's very marketable, Lonnie. I think, like, you know, he's got dynamite in his hands. He's always in really exciting fights. Obviously went a bit south in the last one, but was looking great up until he just got caught flush. And And yeah, I think it's a fantastic opportunity, and you're never going to say no to that. Like whatever comes of your career, you've gone to Mexico and you've headlined a UFC card against, a multiple champ in Moreno. Like just brilliant opportunity. The altitude definitely going to be a problem. We've seen it in so many fights over the years, but maybe Lonnie's just like, I'm going to go in there, I'm just going to try and knock him out in 2 rounds. And like, Lonnie Kavanagh's going to be fit, make no mistake. Like, he's not fought for a while, so he must be training hard, because he must know that there's a fight on the horizon anytime now, because the UFC like him. And like I say, he's very marketable. He's a good-looking boy, and that puts on really exciting fights. So what an opportunity for him. I still think it's a fantastic opportunity, but I do think it comes with all of the caveats that you've just said, which, it's going to make it a tough night, but I wish him all the best, and I'd love to see him beat Brandon Moreno.
Yeah, it'd be amazing. I mean, I'm a huge Brandon Moreno fan, but you've got to
Likewise.
back Lonnie in this one if you can. The other thing about it is apparently Kyoji Horiguchi was offered the fight, but he didn't want to not fight Albazi. Apparently, he said that he would fight Moreno after beating Albazi. And that would have been quite the story. If they imagine if they announced this morning, Albazi's just beaten, Horiguchi's just beaten Albazi. Now he's going to go and fight Moreno in 3 weeks. That would be quite the story. The other thing that we were speaking about was the UFC White House card. Now, there's been loads of talk about, multiple title fights and different things and blah, blah, blah. The front runner to be the headline of the UFC White House card has sort of been rumoured. Again, nothing is official yet, but Ilia Topuria has announced that his kind of divorce proceedings and all that, they've reached a settlement. So that's all done and dusted. And he is now ready to come and fight in June. That would be the White House card. And it looks like they are setting up Ilia Topuria versus Justin Gaethje at the White House to be the White House main event. How do you feel about that if that is the main event? Again, nothing is official yet.
Yeah, I'm not mad at that. I'm not. I think Ilia Topuria is the most exciting fighter in the UFC at the moment, and I think, he's going to want his belt, and I think it's a great fight. Justin Gaethje is a big American hero. They love him out there. He's just put on another war, and got the strap from beating Paddy. Do I think it'll be a competitive fight? No. I think Ilia will do what he done to Max, what he done to Charles, and what he done to Volk. I think he'll get him out of there because he's too young, fit, fast, powerful, and nobody does what he done to Max Holloway, and so I think Justin Gaethje is an easier fight than Max as well for Ilia. But I get why they'd make that fight. I think he's a huge star, Ilia Topuria. Justin Gaethje is, everybody loves Justin. So I don't know. Looking at all the cards that we've seen this year and of recent, and the way that fighters have been injured and people are moving around divisions and stuff, I didn't feel that there was a lot available. You're not going to get Tommy Aspinall. So Ilia Topuria is probably the biggest star in the UFC at the moment, and he's up there. And yeah, I think it makes sense.
Take off your Stu Whiffin hardcore UFC cap for a second and put on your I'm a casual fan, I like the names that I recognise hat on. UFC White House, huge, extravagant event, lots of pomp and ceremony around it. If Ilia Topuria is your main event, you are not getting John Jones and you are not getting Conor McGregor. Is that a problem? again, from not the again, me and you think differently to a lot of the kind of casual UFC fans.
Yeah.
If you're thinking from a casual UFC fan perspective, is it a problem that you've got this huge card that Dana was like, oh my God, it's going to be amazing. Donald Trump has come out and said there's going to be 7 title fights or 8 title fights on the UFC White House card. And as we know, Donald Trump never lies. So are you looking at that as the main event, Topuria versus Gaethje? And are you going, oh, this isn't the huge star-studded event I thought it was going to be?
I also think that the new casual fans probably aren't going to be as excited to see John Jones as a lot of maybe older fans that love John Jones because they've not seen him for so long. Conor's Conor, and obviously he's the biggest name in mixed martial arts and probably will continue to be for many years. What you get with... I don't know. I didn't think you was ever going to see either of them in there anyway. And if they were, it was not going to be for a belt. And so obviously there's got to be a belt on the line, you'd imagine, for, you know, the card at the top of the bill, the fight at the top of the card, sorry. And so I think we get the best of it.
So here's something else I want to throw at you. If Ilia Topuria is the main event, or is on, let's say like this, if Ilia Topuria, Justin Gaethje is on the UFC White House card, is there any world in which John Jones, Alex Pereira is the main event, or John Jones or Conor McGregor is a co-main event? Do you think they can ever be co-mains? Or will they always be the main event? Because surely Ilia Topuria will not be looking at John Jones or Conor McGregor and going, I, as a champion, want to be the co-main to either of you. So would any of them be the co-main to him? Because I imagine they'd also not want to be co-main to Ilia Topuria. Maybe John Jones wouldn't care so much as long as he's getting paid loads of money.
Yeah, I think John Jones...
I don't think Conor's ego would want him to be co-main to Ilia Topuria.
No chance. Conor makes a comeback after however long it's been, 10 years, I don't know how long. And he wants to do that big walkout at the White House. He is not co-main. He will want to be the star. And ultimately, I kind of think he should be, because he is such a big star. Who he'd fight, I don't know. If it would be Chandler. Am I interested in watching Conor McGregor ever fight again? No, not in the slightest. But as a spectacle, you know, that you're putting on this weird event in the White House, which is going to be, as you said, full of pomp and ceremony, and all sorts of eyes are going to be on it. Probably going to arguably be one of the biggest events in sporting history, just because of where it is.
Yep.
And yeah, I do think that there's going to be a lot of eyes on it anyway. So do they need a Conor McGregor or a John Jones on it? I don't know. You know, what you could get is some really exciting fights, but with people that have not got that star power that a John Jones or a Conor McGregor's got. Yeah, I don't know. I think as a big lover of the sport, Ilia Topuria, I think he's the man, and I think that he should, you know, if anybody in the UFC right now that's got a, you know, that has done what he's done and done it in the fashion that he's done it, you're going to get a super exciting fight whenever he gets in the octagon, and that's what you want to headline your card. But as you say, this is a different kettle of fish. This is at the White House, and there's been so much talk about it, and so much talk about John Jones, so much talk about Conor. Yeah, I don't know. Justin Gaethje versus Ilia Topuria was kind of what I thought it was going to be anyway, and I'm not mad at that.
No, fair enough.
You?
Do you think the UFC need to stop over-promising? Like, do you remember UFC 300? It's going to be the greatest card ever. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be this. It's going to blah, 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 blah. And the main event is Alex Pereira, Jamal Hill. Oh, okay. No, it's fine. And the same with this one. You're like, UFC White House is going to be the greatest card we've ever made. There's going to be 7 title fights. The main event is Ilia Topuria, Justin Gaethje. Don't get me wrong, it's not a bad fight. but I think we all know which way it's going to go. I didn't see anything in Justin's win over Paddy that makes me think that Justin has anything to mess up Ilia Topuria. I think Topuria is going to cut straight through Justin Gaethje's wild striking, really.
But do you think, another thing that sort of factors into this, and I know we touched on this towards the end of last year when we was discussing, like, do you think there is too many cards now? That it's yes. The rollover of that is that, all of these fighters are either moving about divisions or getting injured, and there's so many weaker cards now to kind of whatever deal they've got in place where they've got to put however many events on, it feels that it's not giving you the opportunity to then find 7 fights that are going to be absolute barnstormers and like that are going to have star pool and all of that sort of stuff, because they're just not available because they're filling all the other cards that, I think we've had 3 fights, three events on the bounce, haven't we? And I think we've got another 3 on the bounce coming up, I believe.
No, we've got next week off.
Oh, next week's off. Sorry, my bad. Yeah,
and then we've got a few on the bounce after that.
Yeah, so that's a lot, isn't
it? Yeah. I mean, I think they do something like 40 odd cards a year. I would rather they did maybe 36 or something like that, I think. But it is what it is. I do think that the UFC's model of contender series fighters, trying to get fighters as cheap as possible, plus the amount of cards they do, dilutes the quality of the overall product. But look, we've put ourselves in a position where we do this podcast and we basically have to watch every card when it's on, every single time. So we've put that pressure on ourselves. And sometimes you have got family stuff going on or work stuff going on, and you're like, this card isn't very good, but I still feel like I have to watch it. I have to make time to watch it because we do this bloody podcast. If you're just a regular normal human that hasn't been an idiot and decided they want to try and make a podcast about a sport that they love, if you're just a normal person and not one of us 2 morons, then you just don't watch those cards. And you just go, yeah, there's 44 cards a year or whatever there is. I only watch 30 because there's loads of them that I'm not interested in who's fighting, so I just watch the good ones.
I don't imagine last night's card would have got huge views.
Nah, but we watched it.
Pair of morons we are.
They've got us by the short and curlies, haven't they? We can't get away.
But we do that content to give the listeners, something to talk about, and they had something to talk about apparently last week.
Apparently, so I haven't looked because I knew I'd get some kind of aggro from it. But you have to fill me in on what's gone on then.
Well, because
it was the goat chat, right? The featherweight goat chat got a bit of attention.
So we disagreed. Well, we didn't really disagree. You asked me if I thought that Volk was the GOAT, and I said I do believe he is. And you said you wasn't so sure, and I said, okay, so who are you else throwing in the mix for that? And before I said Jose Aldo, I said Conor McGregor. You seemed quite angry at that.
Yeah, I was.
And so the response to it got lots of traction on the socials, and it was a mixed bag. It was a lot of people that agreed with me in regards to, yep, Volk's the GOAT. There was lots of Jose Aldo fans and just fans of the sport that agree with it. Look, it is such an interesting thing to discuss, like Jose and Volk, because they're both absolutely incredible. But there was also people that commented that it wasn't a ridiculous thing to have Conor McGregor in the conversation. And so, because when I was looking at some stats when we was having the conversation, I was looking at Conor's run and the names that he beat, and in the fashion that he beat them, and look, I'm trying to take out of the mix of what he done at that point for the sport, like took it to a new dimension. Like, but I think the fighters that he fought and the way that he beat them, like, in that featherweight division, I thought he looked phenomenal, and he was so exciting, and and also, you go through Dustin Poirier, you go through Max Holloway. I know there was your Dennis Silvers and people like that in the mix as well, and then you get Jose, and look what he done. Like, it was insane. And so I don't think me mentioning him in the conversation warranted your absolute contempt.
Yeah. Okay, so
you're still angry, aren't you?
Here's where you're wrong. And anyone out there listening to this, if you believe Conor McGregor is in the conversation for greatest featherweight of all time, here's where you are also wrong. Conor McGregor was a great fighter. Yes, he got wins over Max and Dustin. They weren't the Max and Dustin that they came to be. He got Max very, very early, and Dustin, had to go up to lightweight to achieve his true potential. And yes, he absolutely sparked out Jose Aldo. Phenomenal 13 seconds. I mean, I was there. I was leaping off my sofa. It was an incredible moment in history. Conor McGregor has one title victory at featherweight. If Conor McGregor defended the featherweight belt 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times, yes, he is in the conversation for featherweight GOAT. This is not a chat about was he a good fighter. That's not the conversation. Of course he was a good fighter. It's not a chat about was he one of the best featherweights we've seen. Yeah, he was, because there's only been about 4 or 5 featherweight champions ever. What's it been? Aldo, Conor, Max Holloway, and Ilia Topuria. Is that about it? They're the only. Hang on, Aldo, Conor, Max Holloway, Topuria, and Volk, obviously. We've had 5 featherweight champions. So for any one of those 5 is one of the best featherweights we've ever seen. But when we are talking about greatness and how we measure greatness, you can't, I swear people have been like, well, Volk beat Aldo. Yes, he did. Uriah Hall beat Anderson Silva. Uriah Hall is not in the conversation for greatest middleweight of all time.
Well,
he is not a GOAT middleweight.
I think.
No, it's not a fucking discussion, Stu, with him. Uriah Hall beat Anderson Silva.
What a fighter Uriah Hall was.
I loved Uriah Hall.
Yeah,
I'm big.
yeah.
The ultimate fighter. Yeah, it's great.
Goat.
I hate you, Stu, with him. But like, you can't. It's just that's ludicrous. It's ludicrous. Yes. Volk might be the featherweight GOAT. I'm not saying he's not. I'm saying I'm not sure. What I'm saying is you have to count the WEC title victories because there's no good reason not to. So you have to count them. And when you count them, Aldo has 3 title victories more, I believe it is, than Volkanovski. So that's that. Conor McGregor has 1 title victory at featherweight. So no, Conor McGregor is absolutely, categorically not in the conversation for featherweight GOAT. Was he one, has he done more for the sport than anyone else? You could probably argue that is a yes. Did he have one of the most exciting runs ever? Yes. Is he, on his own, one of the reasons this sport is where it is today and brought in more fans than anyone else singularly as a fighter has ever done? Yes. Those conversations, I will let you have them all day long. You're absolutely right. But greatest featherweight of all time, you cannot include Conor McGregor in that conversation. And I actually think, as much as Max Holloway is so phenomenal and we love him so much, he is now not in that conversation either because of Aldo and Volk. And just because Aldo was beaten by them does not negate the fact that he was champion for 9 years. Let me say it again. 9 years. That's just too long. That's too long for you to just go, oh, well, he's lost a few fights.
Yeah.
He's 9 years as champion.
Yeah.
When you are the champion of a weight class, you're supposed to fight, and more often than not do. I know there's a few moments here and there. that we can pick out in history where you've got John Jones Stipe or Bisping Dan Henderson or whatever else, Volk Lopez too. There are moments where you're not fighting the best of the best, but overall, more often than not, you are fighting the best of the best. To do that for 9 years, or in Demetrius Johnson's case, to do it for like 11 title defenses, or in Anderson Silva's case, to do it for the length of time that he did at middleweight. That is how greatness is measured. We're not talking about who would win in a fight, who is the better in one moment. We're talking about greatness, measurement of achievements. And that is why Aldo and Volk are very, very close to each other, and Conor cannot be in the conversation.
Fucking hell, you should be a fucking brief, mate. That was like, literally, you can rest your case now. You've won.
Can I rest it?
Yeah.
When you say I can rest it, this clip's going to get put out on socials and I won't be able to rest it because people are going to be like, blah, 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 fucking chatting away.
I'm going to make sure I get this clip edited so it just looks like you're suggesting that Uriah Hall is the middleweight goat. Well, look, I'll tell you what. Let's finish this on a little game, right? We're going to call it prime time, right? Okay, so we're gonna finish this, right?
Prime time. That's very quick. That's very quick, Whiffin.
Right. So obviously we had Conor Aldo in their prime, right? So it's safe to say they were both in their prime when that fight happened, right?
Go on.
So I'm going to ask you for no discussion. I just want the name, right?
Oh God.
Prime Conor, prime Max.
Max.
Okay. Prime
I can't
Conor.
show my work in. You just want names.
Go on. What we got? We'll go on.
I just think Prime Max has got such a great chin.
Yeah.
That I think Conor lights him up round one, but Max doesn't go away, and then Max down the stretch beats him up because Conor's gas tank just doesn't quite last as long.
And he's the greatest boxer in the fucking UFC.
Well, there's that too. I mean, as fights go, Prime Conor versus Prime Max is an unbelievable scrap. That's a BMF title fight right there.
Oh, good shot. Right, last round of prime time. All right, okay.
I love this game. Prime time.
Prime Volk, Prime Conor.
Volk.
Ooh. Okay.
I just think he's just footwork. I mean, look, Volk, if Conor catches him, which he might very well do. Oh, do you know what? You've made me rethink it now. No, I'm going to go Volk.
That low
I'm going to go Volk.
Conor style, that karate style Conor. Like, who has Volk fought like that? Like, it's a very, unorthodox fight style.
What a fight.
Yeah.
I mean, look, and that's just to just end this with Conor was so magical to watch. It's such a shame we lost so many of his prime years as a fighter to the boxing thing and him just being so wealthy. And then on top of all of that, what happened was outside of the cage, it's just been one disgrace after another, really, whether it's the old man in the pub being found guilty in a libel case of sexual assault. I mean, it's just one thing after another. It's
Unfortunately,
as someone that
you see this so many times with sports people that make a lot of money very fast and have everything they want. They it always it's the stuff of films, isn't it? They end up making films about these people because the ups and downs of their life are so dramatic. And I think Conor McGregor is an absolute prime example of that. But let's wrap this one up.
Prime time was such an upbeat note, and I've just soured
do you know
it
what?
with
We'll be back next time with some more prime time.
I love prime time. Can we play some more prime time? Can people in the comments, rather than just hating on me for my quite valid takes based on statistics, give us some more prime time answers that they want. Prime time is the new name of the game. give us their primetime matchups and who they think would win, and we'll see if we agree.
All right. Okay. Thanks ever so much for listening or watching wherever you're getting this. Go check out our sponsor, Fat Candy, and use the discount code SWEETMMA to save some money on your sweetie treats. And we'll be back to discuss, it'll be Strickland, won't it?
It might be Strickland Hernandez, which is actually a really interesting fight. And yeah, so we shall see.
Another wonderful human being. Right. We'll see you next time.
What's wrong with Hernandez?
Lovely guy.
Bye.